we were not going to do predictions and like starting lineup. Who gives a shit about that? But I do want to talk about something else. Like in the beginning of the year, we had toyed with the idea of just talking a little bit more about Brazilian teams. I see you wearing the Palmeiras jersey, so we have a little bit of time here. So what we're going to do is break down this other game that is going to be going down between Inter Miami and Palmeiras. You know Palmeiras better than anybody that I know, so it's only fair that we talk about that. The World Cup has been exciting for very different reasons, but have you been watching Palmeiras in this World Cup, and what have been your thoughts about the team so far in this tournament? I know they're somewhat doing really well, so tell me about it, man.
Yeah, they're doing really well. I mean, the only if you wanted to like split hairs on it, there was their game against Porto, which Miami ended up winning. So you kind of look back but Porto's a pretty evenly matched team with Palmeiras. The interesting thing I think with Palmeiras is that they can they can play you in so many different ways. I've said plenty of times, Abel Ferreira, I think, is the best coach in the Americas. Um, Palmeiras does not play Jogo Bonito, and that kind of makes them somewhat hated in Brazil because we all Brazil plays Jogo Bonito, like that's their whole thing, and Palmeiras really plays almost anti-football. And Abel, I call him the soccer terrorist. They like to foul, they like to tactically slow down the game, they like to basically put the game at their pace. There's teams where they'll speed up the pace on, and there's teams they'll slow down the pace, and they're very good at dictating the pace of the game. And so these are the things that Abel excels at, is drilling players into like the psychological game of it. And not to mention they have a lot of very good players. Weverton is the best goalie in South America. He's one of the best goalies not playing in Europe, probably the best goalie not playing in Europe. Gustavo Gomez is the best center back in the Americas, hands down. Uh, Piqueires, the best left back. They have a couple positions where they just have the best guy. Facundo Torres, ex MLS guy, has been playing very good for them as well. Richard Rios, another one of the best midfielders, Colombian. And then you have a Flaco Lopez. Has scored 5 goals in his last 7 games. He can be a little bit hit and miss, but if he gets the ball on his head, he's pretty good. If he gets the ball at his feet, anything can happen. And Palmeiras tends to play also similar to Dolo ball in a way, a little more of a counter-pressing, counter-attacking game, but they rely much more heavily on crosses. They're very good at crossing, and they have very good targets to cross the ball to, and they always have. So, and again, with the Jogo Bonito, crossing the ball in the box to get lumped in by a header is just not how Brazilians usually like to see their game played. But that's what Palmeiras does very effectively. They also obviously have Esteval on the right wing, who's a $60 million transfer coming up to Chelsea. So up and down, their team is stacked. And I know Palmeiras is really going to have their designs on trying to win this whole thing. The Mundial is this thing that's been very elusive for them. They're the only big team in South America that has never won it, and they get a lot of shit from people for it. So I think they're going to give Miami everything they can handle. They may even rotate as well, and I think there's still going to be enough to handle Miami. It's a really big team, and they've kind of started this tournament kind of slow, in my opinion. And and I think some of the European teams have too. I think the teams that really have their designs in this whole thing are kind of easing slowly into this tournament, and they're going to start picking it up when you hit the elimination rounds. And Abel Ferreira is a pragmatic enough coach that I think he would work that in as well. So I think Miami's going to have their hands full. I think maybe they're probably going to be on a 3-1 loss, is going to be my score prediction. Messi is Messi, so there's going to be a point where he's going to have his moment of brilliance, but Piqueires is going to lock him down, I think. I think Messi is going to have a hard time getting around Piqueires.
I think so too. I think that's a great breakdown. First of all, thanks for doing that. Like I said, Palmeiras really, really well. It's a fun team to watch. Not my team, but I have no dog in this fight, so I'm glad you do. As far as I think it's very interesting MLS versus Brazil matchup, and we had one already, like Seattle and Botafogo, that ended up being close at the end. I would think Seattle had a chance to tie that, if not win it, depending on how that thing went. But Palmeiras is a different beast, and they're a very disciplined team. And Inter Miami, as we know, have a lot of flaws, but they do have Messi and they have FIFA behind them. They came out pretty nice on their group. I think Palmeiras is really the only big threat out of this. So they hope that Palmeiras and Inter come out of this game. To me, it's a closer than that, but Palmeiras winning with like 1-0. It's something really not exciting but convincing. And then we'll see what Porto will do, right? Because he'll end up being all about goal differentials. Everybody will end up with 4 points there in that second position. So, it will be about how many goals you scored and how many goals you didn't score. So, I just hope an MLS. By the way, I have a question for you. Do you hope an MLS team to go through? So, in this case, Inter Miami, would you prefer them to go through or die right here? And it's the end of MLS in this tournament.
I want to see them go through.
Okay. Yeah, me too. For as much as I hate Miami and what they symbolize, I think it will make us look slightly less embarrassing, especially since LAFC completely shit the bed. I don't know why. I'm telling you this without really believing it. I'm like, yeah, I really want them to go through. Do I really want them to go through?
Yeah, I mean, Miami's going to have their hands full.
They're fucked.
Yeah, I believe.
But you know what?
They're missing a defender. They have Falcone, and that guy has seemed really suspect at a lot of times. And Palmeiras, the thing with them is that they finish their chances. If you give them a chance, they're going to finish it. Like they're that team. Yeah. And so, that's going to be the real struggle for Miami. And the other thing with Abel Ferreira is, if Palmeiras wants to get a goal and they want to grind it out and basically just like play into a 1-0, like they can grind a game out for 60 minutes with a 1-goal advantage and pretty comfortably walk away with it. Like it's just how they're built and drilled. They're a phenomenal team, one of the best disciplined teams in the Americas, and they're going to be a force in this tournament.
Yeah, no, look, man, we're going to get out of here because I know you got a big day tomorrow. I really appreciate you doing this with me on Sunday night, being accommodating on the time. But, dude, we've been asking for this whole match of us playing against CONMEBOL, and here it is. So it's exciting for what it is. Enjoy the game against Flamengo. It's one chance in a lifetime. They're going to come in ready to play, right? They don't want to lose to an MLS team going into against this tournament. So it's a little bit more than a friendly for them. And if we can show that we can beat them in that circumstance, I think it will make us all feel better. Let's be honest, the chance of us getting out of this group with Chelsea and Flamengo is really fucking small, right? So if we can at least say we beat Flamengo out of all of